As you guys know, we had the Misfits card, amazing card. Dean the Great put on an amazing performance. Was the fight rigged and the refs? No, he wasn't. He turned his back. He was way more hurt than Dean ever was. Thought he was gonna lose. Thought maybe it was too tough of a challenge, too much of a tough challenge for him in his career. I think he needs better defense and better head movement, and he should have just been more serious in the fight. But he got the win regardless. I thought Hasim's fight was really awesome. Why this guy was 100 pounds heavier than Hasim, I don't know. Misfits Boxing, KSI, Mams, Kyle, very disappointed and disgusted that you allowed someone that was 100 pounds heavier to fight Hasim. It's dangerous. It could have ended very bad for Hasim, and it's just not ethical. And I don't know whose decision that was, but that was disgusting to me, that there was such an inconsideration for the fighter's life, and I just can't condone that. But regardless, I think if that guy was Hasim's size, Hasim would have won. It was just that Hasim's punches weren't going to do anything when this guy was 100 pounds heavier than him. He wasn't going to feel the effects, and Hasim didn't really get out of the box as much as he just got hurt, and he realized, shoot, man, I engaged with this guy too much. He's going to knock me out. I don't want that. But regardless, he did put on a good showing. I still think he would beat Jake Paul, and if anything, I think he has a much better chance than Tommy. I think everyone would agree with that statement as well. And then FaZe Temper won, and King Kenny won. KO's KSI v Dillion Danis will take place in London in January. From an entertainment perspective, this fight is amazing. The hype, the drama, the beef. Dillion is a personality who knows how to sell a fight. This fight will have a lot of hype around it. There's a storyline. There's genuine hatred there. And as entertainment, this is entertainment with a capital E. You cannot get much more exciting than this. Danis is a master at selling something and selling himself and keeping himself in people's mouths and relevant. Even though he has not fought in years, he's still up there and talked about as much as someone like Jake Paul is in KSI. So I'm very excited from an entertainment standpoint to see this fight. From a YouTube boxing fan perspective, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And I'm not going to hold back my words. And if this doesn't prove that I'm not biased, I don't know what else does. I'm disappointed in you, KSI. I'm very disappointed because this fight does not make any sense at all. I think this fight should have happened in August. I even said this was the fight that should happen. This is the right fight at the wrong time. This should have happened in August. He should never have even considered Wasabi. He should have fought Danis. And when Wasabi pulled out, he should have either gotten Danis or Woodley. And then we could have been looking at a completely new level of opponent come January, because he's been out of the ring for 3 years. He needs to catch up to Jake. This is the wrong way to go about it. And the reason why I say that, why I'm so hard on him, is because I know he has that potential to hang in there and beat guys like Woodley, like Tate, like Fury, like Joe. Like, I don't know how you beat Joe and Tommy, but that's why I'm so critical of Jake when Jake was fighting people like Ben and Woodley, when there were better options like Conor McGregor's sparring partner that he called out and then didn't fight, or Tommy Fury who didn't fight back in August. Is because if you're going to say you're the top G, you're going to say you're the king, and you're going to call out these really worthy opponents and then fight someone lesser than, you have to get hated on. You have to get that L. You have to get that wake-up call. You can't just say that stuff and then not fight these opponents, because there were so many better opponents. Tyron or Tate should have been the people, not Danis. And I think Woodley kind of is the why the fight didn't happen, is the reason why that fight didn't happen. I think KSI was going to fight Woodley, which I give respect him for, but it all had to do with the weight. But at the same time, KSI, you're a fighter, you're a boxer. Don't let your ego and, if I stoop down to Woodley, you'll think that I'm lesser than, because that's probably his mentality, right? He's got that ego in him, which, again, is acceptable, but I think KSI's ego is what stopped that Woodley fight from happening, and that's the fight that should have happened. And with Tate, again, KSI, you called him out in August, the fight's in January. He could have lost that weight easily. He could have started training. There really is no excuse. I think that Mams and Kyle need to be taken out, because I think that they are the reason why KSI is taking these easy fights. We saw him texting Mams saying, I want a challenge, unleash me. Woodley won on the poll and he went with Danis. KSI isn't an idiot. I think he's being influenced by people that do not have his best interests at heart, that are just there for the money. And I think, when he was with Vidal and Liam, I think he had much better people that were more real with him, that pushed him more, that understood the sport of boxing more, that had more common sense, and that would have had KSI on a much better and tougher path. Because at this point, if Jake makes fun of you, the realist makes a video, I'm not going to defend you. I don't even want to defend you. This is an L. I'm disappointed. I'm mad. I'm hurt by this thing, because it kind of proves everyone right about you. And what I respected about you, KSI, was you took those tough fights and you weren't afraid of backing down. You weren't like Jake, and you're becoming like Jake. And if anything, I have more respect for Jake in a way, because at least he's tried to fight Tommy and Hasim. I said this exact same stuff with Jake. It's not that I hate Jake and I want him to see him fight a pro boxer, because I know he won't win. I know he can compete at that level. There's a reason why I hated him fighting Nate, is because I know he could fight FaZe Sensei. I know he was at a different level. He didn't need to fight Ben. Ben, despite all these perceptions in the title, was not at Jake's level. It was just simply not. He could have fought Woodley in April. He should have fought Fury in August, for all I care. So I guess it was more in Jake's early career with Nate and Ben. But again, because he had much better opponents that he could have chosen from, and then he called himself the best to ever do it. KSI is doing the same thing, so I have to call out KSI just as equally as I'm going to call out Jake. I don't have double standards in this game. I call it real. I call it as it is. Again, he did fight Logan, which was a very tough opponent, but you need to rival that or even surpass that. And Jake now has surpassed you. And I truly do believe that, yes, you are the king, but you can't talk the big talk anymore, man, because now it's going to become irritating. But the thing is, I know how good KSI is, that he can beat Jake Paul now. And all of you are going to be like, you're biased, you're this. I know he can. He's at a different level. KSI, Jake, Logan, they're at different levels. Your brother fought Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's fighting in the UK in February. Why not fight him on Misfits and change it from January to February? KSI, you let me down. Enough said.